If you've ever wondered what the world's most confident and magnetic people have in common, it's that they've mastered this one exponential confidence building loop. Psychologists and neuroscientists have discovered that confidence actually operates as a cycle. It's not a static trait. So if you're a bit like me and have ever struggled with self-doubt, fear of failure, insecurities holding you back from really stepping into your full potential, then I made this video just for you. If you're new here, my name's Izzy. I'm a Cambridge graduate, doctor, and entrepreneur, and I am actually living proof of this cycle in action. In this video, I'll walk you through the state, action, experience loop and other evidence-based, proven, practical techniques that you can implement in your life right now to level up your confidence and become the version of you that is most magnetic, most free, most confident, and most self-loving. Fundamentally, even though it doesn't always seem that way, confidence is not actually a trait that anyone is magically born with. It's a skill that we have to learn. It's a muscle that we have to build and train over the course of our lives. And this is a great thing because with the right strategies and simple mental tools, literally anyone can learn to have deep, unshakable confidence. And so firstly, I'll explain the psychology behind this, and secondly, I'll demonstrate exactly how this works with an example from my own personal life, which really taught me in crystal clarity about this loop. In 1977, a psychologist called Albert Bandura published his self-efficacy theory. Self-efficacy can be defined as our belief in our ability to succeed, essentially our confidence in our ability to do something. And in his paper, he identified 4 things that really build our feeling of self-efficacy, with the most powerful source of self-belief and self-efficacy being mastery experiences, which are essentially direct experiences of success. Every time we have a mastery experience, where we have done something and succeeded, neural pathways in our brain are strengthened, and we develop more and more of this sense of self-efficacy or confidence and self-belief. Later in this video, I'll go over some other elements of self-efficacy theory and how we can implement them. But for now, let's focus on mastery experiences, since these are the most powerful way to level up this feeling of self-efficacy. And as a companion for this video, to really support you in actually taking action on building up your confidence, I've created a completely free resource for you. It's a PDF template which you can either print out or just use on your computer with my favorite journaling prompts and guided exercises to help you develop and build on leveling up your confidence. So if you'd like to check that out, it's totally free, link down below in the description. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. The state, action, experience loop is how we actually build confidence. And by understanding this loop, you will have the key to being able to unlock exponential growth in your confidence. So let's dive into this, because this is the core principle that underlies the rest of this video. Everything starts with our state and our story. And so our state is essentially our physiological, our emotional state. And our story is the narrative that we're telling ourselves. So these two are often very closely linked together. And there's almost a little bit of an interaction between them, because the narrative, the story that we tell ourselves affects our state then also affects our story. So I've put these together into one block of our state and story. Our state and story then subsequently affects what kinds of actions and behaviors we have in response to the world. Our actions and behaviors in response to stimuli from the outside world, so opportunities or events happening, influences very strongly our experience of the world, our evidence base of memories and experiences and things that have happened to us, because obviously then by changing our actions, we change the kind of outcome of what goes on in our life. So from actions and behaviors, that influences our experience and evidence. And from our bank of memories, experiences, evidence in our head, we then go back and build up our state and story again. And so then this closes this loop. And so here you can see that the state and story that we're in affects the actions and behaviors that we take in response to the world, which in turn influences the experience and evidence base that we build up. And then that in turn changes the state and story that we have again. And so I'll illustrate this with a personal example. During my time studying at medical school, the Cambridge Clinical School would put on an annual charity pantomime, essentially a medical parody of some kind of popular Disney movie with lots of singing, dancing, acting, all of that good stuff. And we would create our own medical in-jokes about it, and the whole cast would be medical students. So obviously they would audition us to see, okay, are there any talented gems at singing or dancing or acting who we could cast in the play. For me, previously, I had been in the Emmanuel College Chapel Choir. I had done a bunch of choir singing. I had done like a grade 6 singing exam when I was younger. I felt like relatively confident and validated in my ability to sing. And so then I applied for what was called the singing troupe, basically a chorus of singing people who sing a lot of the songs and all that kind of thing, but they don't act. And during this audition, obviously they were like, okay, she can sing, but then the directors for the show asked me to read for the acting roles as well. So basically their thought process is that for the lead roles, the like main characters in the play, they need to be able to sing really well and also act, and they don't really need to be able to dance that much, but a bit of dancing is kind of cute. But when they asked me, in that moment, I felt a sudden wave of self-doubt and insecurities. And this actually stemmed from school days where I was told that I was bad at acting during drama class, and I had internalized that, oh, I'm bad at acting, I'm no good at acting. And so when they asked me to read for this acting audition, I said, oh, I'm not really sure I want to do the acting, I'm just here to sing really. And so I declined doing the acting part. Low confidence, low self-esteem, low self-belief that I could do this, and the story of like, oh, I'm bad at acting, I would just make a fool of myself anyway, and why even try because I'm bad at acting. So this was my state and story, which led to my actions and behaviors and my responses to their requests, which was essentially like, oh no, I don't want to do the acting thing, I'll just sing. And so then that led to me obviously not getting an acting part, and I got the singing part, which is what I had auditioned for, which then in some ways reinforced this story in my head that I'm not good at acting, all of that kind of thing. Fast forward a few years, COVID lockdowns hit, medical school was cancelled for a little while. Suddenly I was at home twiddling my thumbs with way too much time to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I started this YouTube channel, I did a yoga teacher training online, I started working with a dermatology health tech startup, all of these exploratory things which were outside of my comfort zone, but I kind of tried them anyway. And so by the time med school rolled back around again after all the COVID lockdowns and the auditions came around again, I thought, you know what, I'm open to at least reading for the acting audition. If they think I'm terrible, that's fine, but I have the confidence and the comfort level to be uncomfortable in that audition and let them make the best decision for the show. Just trust the director's intelligence to make the right decision for the pantomime. And so then I did the singing audition, they were like, wonderful, can you do the acting part as well? And this time I had a completely different state and story. My state and story was much more positive this time. Rather than feeling embarrassment or self-doubt or feeling low self-worth and low self-belief, I had now worked on my general sense of self-belief and my comfort level with being uncomfortable. The story I was now telling myself wasn't, I am bad at acting, I will make a fool of myself and be ridiculed. It was now, you know what, I'll give it a go. If I'm actually not the right fit for the role, that's fine, but I'll give it a go and I'll at least give myself the opportunity to try and then trust the directors and their judgment on this. And so then that led to the actions and behaviors of me being ready to say yes to this acting audition and giving it my all in that moment. That didn't mean that I didn't feel fear, but it did mean that I gave it a go. And the outcome from that was, surprisingly, that year I was cast as Belle, who was the female lead role in the pantomime that year titled Beauty and the Yeast. Every single time that I showed up to a rehearsal, I did the acting thing, I put myself out of my comfort zone, I showed myself with actions and behaviors that I could in fact actually do this thing. It built up this evidence bank of competence and built up my skills in acting, and then that in turn led to a higher level of state in terms of confidence moving forwards. And so it was this virtuous cycle of confidence leading to me trying more, and then me trying more leading to me actually getting better and also developing a bank of evidence and experience that actually I can do this, which led to more confidence in turn. And so then I had entered this state action experience loop. Sometimes people like to refer to this as a confidence competence loop, essentially leveling me up in confidence in this area. And by the end of this whole experience, I had literally stepped on stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people for 5 nights in a row, singing, dancing, acting in the character of Belle, memorizing hundreds of lines, several solo songs, and this was something that I never would have dreamed that I would have been able to do before. Every attempt allows us the opportunity to build up this bank of evidence, fueling more confidence and then encouraging us to try even more. But there is a catch to this loop. In order to enter this virtuous cycle, you must be willing to be bad at something before eventually achieving confidence and mastery. This links into the second key psychological theory that I wanted to bring up, which is this concept of building a growth mindset. Carol Dweck is a psychologist and researcher known for her pioneering work on mindset theory, particularly this concept of a fixed versus a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is where people believe their basic qualities like intelligence or talent or confidence are fixed traits which are static. Whereas someone who has a growth mindset is someone who believes their abilities can be developed through dedication, hard work, learning from feedback, putting in continuous effort. She published a landmark paper in 1988 showing that students who believed their intelligence was malleable, so in other words they had a growth mindset, were more likely to take on challenges, step outside their comfort zone, and ultimately improve their grades and attainment. And again in 2007, she published a paper demonstrating that teaching students about their brain's ability to change, essentially neuroplasticity, and the growth mindset led to improved academic performance. This means that for ourselves, if we develop and work on our growth mindset, building on our ability to believe that we can learn anything, even if we're initially a bit bad at it, is the most powerful meta skill. And so in this case, it's our belief in our ability to become competent and then subsequently confident in something. So now we've gone through the key psychological theories underpinning all of this. The next question is, how do we even break into this virtuous cycle? So I'm going to walk through 5 proven, actionable strategies and mental tools to help you on your way. Firstly, it's this concept of feel the fear and do it anyway. This is actually the title of a book by Susan Jeffers, who did a lot of work around fear psychology. When we are doing something outside of our comfort zone and giving ourselves the opportunity to take action on things and build up that bank of evidence that we can in fact do it, it can be really scary. And that fear is often what can hold us back. And it certainly held me back for many years from many things. And I'm still on a journey to fully break through all of the fears that I have, because this is an ongoing journey. It's a lifelong journey. Research has shown that the physiological response to fear and excitement are actually nearly identical. They both result in an elevated heart rate, increased cortisol, activation of the sympathetic nervous system, and activation of similar areas of the brain. The key difference lies in our mental labeling of the experience. In psychology, there's this technique called cognitive reappraisal, which is a psychological strategy to consciously change how we're thinking about or interpreting a situation to alter our emotional response to them. This was demonstrated in Alison Woodbrook's 2014 research, where participants who framed their feelings of anxiety or fear as excitement performed better at public speaking and singing compared to those who just tried to calm themselves down. Because essentially both fear and excitement are at relatively high arousal states. So your brain is like really activated, you're in a sense of high arousal. And so to go from fear, where there's all of this high emotions, to trying to just calm yourself down, telling yourself to relax and calm down, is actually much more difficult than converting that fear and reframing it as, actually I'm excited. So the thing that I really love to remind myself of is that the only difference between fear and excitement is a smile. Think about how excited you are about this. And in Susan Jeffers' book, she mentions an affirmation, I can handle it, when facing these kinds of intimidating situations. So next time you feel that fear, try smiling, opening up your body language with power poses, and reminding yourself that you can handle it. You have felt fear and excitement in the past, and you've handled it, and you're going to handle this time as well. Strategy number 2 is clearing fear clutter to allow us to have more mental freedom. One thing that I realized in the process of facing many of my fears was that when we are scared of doing something, it actually limits us. It makes us less free. And so I like to think of fear in terms of fear clutter, where essentially in our minds it's almost like there's this clutter of things we're anxious about, we're worried about doing, we're scared of, which prevent us or limit us from doing the thing that we want to do. For example, for starting this YouTube channel, I had a bunch of fear clutter around posting on social media, and I would feel anxiety, I'd feel like, oh my god, what are people gonna think? And so then when actually I decided, you know what, this is limiting me, I am not free here, I'm going to do the scary thing, film myself on camera, post it online for literally anyone to see. Every time we feel this fear and we do it anyway, we face some of this fear clutter head on, and we almost create this agile mental space where there was once this impassable debris. This links into exposure therapy in psychology, which is an approach where individuals gradually and systematically confront feared situations or objects or memories, which gradually reduces anxiety and fear responses over time. One of my favorite tools for helping to reduce the activation energy and overcome procrastination around coming up with and developing content ideas is something that I've actually been building with my husband and team. So I'm very, very excited to say for the very first time that this video is very kindly sponsored by me. VoicePal is an app that we've been building which functions as an AI ghostwriter in your pocket. So whenever some kind of idea pops into my head, instead of having to sit down at my computer and type it out, I just pull out my phone, hit record, and speak to VoicePal, which records what I'm saying, transcribes it, and then, here's the magic bit, prompts me using AI to further develop and deepen my thoughts by asking tailored follow-up questions. So after talking to VoicePal for a bit and getting out all these ideas, developing them, exploring new avenues with this AI ghostwriter buddy, I can then export a first draft of that concept for my content. And really this all came about because my husband Ali and I, we just really wanted to create the apps and tools that we would love to use and we would love to see in the world. And so VoicePal is one of those. So if you've ever considered creating content or developing your ideas, making YouTube videos, starting that newsletter or that blog or Instagram, so feel free to check it out via the link below. The third mental tool is a decision framework, which I find really, really helpful. And it's the expanding versus shrinking decision framework. A question that I love to ask myself when I'm faced with an intimidating opportunity is, will saying yes to this encourage me to expand or shrink? What response aligns more with my higher self, with the person that I want to become? So maybe next time you find yourself in this kind of situation, you could try asking yourself, will this response to this opportunity encourage me to grow and expand, or to shrink or stay the same? And there are no right or wrong answers here. It's all just about understanding how our choices and our actions will influence our future state and our future actions, and ultimately the person that we are going to become. The fourth mental tool is the success secret, and it's a realization I had that the most successful people in the world have actually failed more than the average person, simply because they've just tried more than the average person. This is literally backed up by research where studies on elite performers show that they make more total attempts and experience more failures than the average performers, and yet they are elite performers. They have succeeded more than average just because they've made more attempts. An example of this is that Thomas Edison, the inventor of literally the light bulb, which completely changed the course of human history and was a landmark in scientific innovation, allegedly made over 1,000 attempts at creating the light bulb, which failed before he finally succeeded. So the lesson that I take from this is that actually failing more than average is the recipe, weirdly, for success. And so every single time that we try something and we fail, in some ways that's also a success and it's also a win, because we've put ourselves out there, we've practiced that muscle of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, and we've also given ourselves another shot at the pie of actually having a success at something. This means that we can almost shift our mindset to not fear failure, but actually to embrace it, because whether we fail or succeed, an attempt is a win. Finally, the fifth strategy is to build your confidence council. Going back to Bandura's self-efficacy theory, one of the 4 levers that we can pull in terms of increasing our confidence in our ability to do things is actually social persuasion, which in normal terms means encouragement and support from people around us. Our brains are wired to use social support as a fundamental way to regulate our emotions and build confidence. So when we have these supportive relationships, it helps us to handle stress, develop resilience, be more willing to face our fears. And this is also what Bandura was theorizing in his self-efficacy theory. So for this point here, as much as it's so important to be able to rely on ourselves, it's also worth honoring that we are social beings and we are fundamentally connected to the people around us. Finding a support system and a confidence council of people who you can rely on to help encourage you to achieve your goals and get outside of your comfort zone is a very powerful way of putting all of this into practice. Because equally, if, like me, at times you have felt low self-esteem or low confidence in yourself, sometimes it's helpful to speak to somebody else and trust others to see the potential in you that you might not actually see yourself. Trust the intelligence of the people around you to see you clearly. And so this links into, for example, me trusting the directors of the pantomime to make the right decision for the show, and I'll just trust their intelligence. I will show up and do the thing. Or for example, when I was starting my YouTube channel, my mum was a big source of emotional support because she was encouraging me to step out of my comfort zone, and when I said that I might want to do this thing, she was really supportive and 100% there for me. So maybe see if you can identify 2 or 3 people who can form something of a confidence support network for you. So now you understand the psychological theories underpinning this, the powerful exponential loop that you can tap into, and also practical strategies to actually implement this and access it more easily and break into this virtuous cycle. And so with all of this new information, I'd like to invite you to actually choose 2 action points you're taking away from this video that you're going to implement today, because I don't want you to just be watching these YouTube videos for entertainment. I want these to actually impact and improve your life and help you to step into your most magnetic, confident self. That's only going to happen if you actually take action on this. So pick 2 action points from this video and write them down somewhere, either in your journal, I love to journal, or in the comments, or send me an email, or tell a friend, maybe one of these confidence support network people. Maybe one of them is even downloading the completely free guide that I've created for you around confidence. The main thing is that you're setting an intention, because that's proven to multiply how likely you are to actually follow through. If you enjoyed this video, I think you might like this one over here, which talks about how to leverage cognitive neuroscience to create your dream life with the power of vision boarding, including developing confidence and leveling up. And if you'd like to see more from me, feel free to follow me over on Instagram at Izzy Sealey, or sign up for my completely free weekly email community. Links to everything mentioned down below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, and remember that the journey is the destination. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!